It's like to start with how much money you made this last month.
Oh my gosh. I had a $20,768.69 deposit in my bank account.
Ooh, that's nice.
Which was huge. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much it doubled my business in just one launch. I mean, like I expected, some slow growth. I didn't expect that.
This
So
was your
that was
biggest
kind of like,
launch.
holy crap, I don't know what to do with this. But yeah, so it was pretty exciting. And now I'm just like, okay, how do I do that again, but like bigger?
Yeah. Heck yeah. And that was total for the month of May, including your reoccurring in the launch.
That was separate from my reoccurring. So
Okay.
already I was bringing in about, gosh, I want to say it was about maybe 13,000
Okay.
recurring revenue.
Moving in the right direction right there.
Yeah.
And what do you do for people that don't know?
I teach people how to flip houses. I do online coaching. I have like a free 5-day training on everything about getting into house flipping benefits. I used to be a general contractor, and also have my degree in interior design. So I kind of bring that to the table too, and teach people, predominantly people who have like no clue how to get started, exact steps that they need to take, and realistic expectations that they need to have, and like a whole slew of information that nobody told me that I wish I had known in the very beginning, so that you're starting off successful in this business versus going through all the huge common mistakes that most people make. So yeah, so that's what I do. I have a launch about once a month for that 5-day week. And then at the end of that, I invite them into my paid program where I have weekly coaching meetings, and we use the school app, and I've had pre-recorded courses on there, tons of documents. I just added another like 6 or 7 documents to it this week. So as the community grows, it's cool because the needs sometimes change, or new needs come up, and it's one more thing I can address and add to the program and make it even better. So yeah.
Love that. Yeah, it's always growing, right? You could always add to it and make it better, and as more people come in with different needs. So and then we've been working together, like 6 months, more than that now?
I think it's
around there.
Yeah, almost a year, I think. Maybe like around June, July is when we started, when I changed things. So I think it took me a little bit of revamping things. But yeah.
Well, so talk to me some of the struggles that you were having like a year ago, like with the business.
So the way my business was set up before, I would offer my program, and then people would sign up for like a 2-month course. So they would pay, either they'd have like 1 payment up front, or 3 payments for the course of it. It just sucked because like I had to get at least 6 sales if I wanted to make any money. And even then that was a struggle too. So basically, like, and there were times where I'd make like 1 or 2. And then it would be like, now I have to go in debt to try to launch another campaign just to try to make money back, plus then maybe profit. And it would just suck because it was like, I was like really striving, and the anxiety and stress of like not getting that was just like, this has to be like, I almost talked myself out of continuing a couple times because I've tried to change things here and there, switch things up a little bit, but ultimately like the whole program, the way I had it set up, where I needed to get that sale then and there to make money, just kind of screwed me, because if I didn't make it, then my business was basically failing, going backwards instead of continually growing. So I didn't always have much to build off of.
Yeah. With the one-off. So you had like one-off payments, right? You were just doing like one-off. It was like a 2-month course. And then you had to like different cohort groups that started at different times. So you had to like jump on and support those calls.
Right.
Like multiple times a week, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that?
I gave too much of myself too, to try to make up for the fact that the course was only 2 months. And it also didn't with something like investing in real estate, it didn't give people really enough time, or me enough time, to see some of those people successful. So I needed something that was a larger program that people could commit to, that I could also walk them through more of the process versus just like taking a class, you know, to then go wish them luck applying it later on. Because you get a lot of people in there who are like, they're ready to go and they're putting stuff into action by the first week. There's even people who I'm like trying to get them to slow down because they're going so fast, they're going to fall on their face. But most of the people drag their feet because they have jobs, they have lives, they're being pushed out of their comfort zone. And it takes a while to, you know, just because you've committed to paying for the program, your life actually has to change and allow time for you to commit your time and energy to doing something with that too. So I just needed to change pretty much everything about how I was doing it, and to get better. I needed better people who wanted to be in the program too.
Yeah. So what were some of the major shifts you made then with your business model, right? All of that.
Yeah. So with your help, I basically cut out the whole 2-month program, switched to a 6-month, basically switched to a weekly subscription with a minimum of a 6-month commitment. So if you're going to sign up at all, you had to be willing to stick it out for at least 6 months. And that would be more than enough time to really put a lot of things into action and actually even start flipping a property and you know, getting financing and all that kind of stuff set up. So, and by paying weekly, it made it easier for some people with their paycheck and, you know, that kind of thing. And it just, you know, it's easier to say like, I can pay like $400 a month, or, you know, I can pay $100 a week versus like, give me $400 a month. And I just got a lot of interest for that. I've had a lot of success with people actually doing the work and, you know, going through the steps. And I felt like I was finally able to do my job, which was to actually teach. The people that were coming in here who were willing to commit for that length of time really helped me be able to really step in the role, which I wanted was to actually like teach people, work with them on strategy, give them advice on like, what is it that's holding you back? What is it that you need to do now? Kind of like what you do, but with just in this aspect. And it's been more fun. Like I always enjoyed doing this, as in like, you know, I got to stay home with my son and I got work from home, and I knew the possibility of, you know, this growing into something that would bring the time freedom that I really wanted. I knew it was possible, but it was just not going to work the way I had it set up. And now, like, if I have to take a month off, I can. If I have to, like, you know, then I'm not struggling about, you know, wonder if I'm going to get a paycheck this month or something like that. So I get to focus more on my growth rather than just do it again so I can get some money. So it's kind of like a lot of things changed.
Kind of get out of the survival mode where you're just trying to make those one-off sales and there's no predictability. You know, I think that's the power of recurring revenue, is that it gives you consistency, a little bit of safety net there. And plus, you extended it to 6 months instead of just like a 2-month thing. Like, this is a 6-month agreement. You can split it up into payments, weekly payments, which makes it easier for people.
Mm-hmm.
Like those simple changes right there, like if people made that in their coaching business, like that would be a night and day difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I'll add the yearly payment, which was huge, because then I got like a nice chunk of money right off the bat that could help me increase for the next launch. So I mean, almost half of, maybe like a third of the people who signed up with my last launch signed up with yearly. So that was like a huge chunk that I was able to give myself a higher paycheck and invest in the next launch to grow even more.
Right.
So
because we were doing, like, you'd had a 6-month pay in full, but then you decided to let's take that all the way up to 12 months pay in full. So the only pay in full option was 12 months. But they got like a significant discount.
Yeah.
But and then it's a win-win, right? I mean, you can optimize, you know, you can always switch up your pricing strategy to optimize for whatever you want. If you want more paid in fulls, you just make the discount more significant. But this last launch, you got like,
it was 5 of them. But and to me, it makes a difference too, and just the kind of people who sign up. Like I almost feel like because I wasn't charging enough before, the kind of people I was getting before were people who could almost barely afford the program.
Mhm, mhm.
And now I'm reaching out to people who like they at least have the money coming in that they can afford to invest in themselves and then really invest in the program. So
It's huge.
yeah, and with that ability comes a different type of mindset of people.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's
that's
been
wild.
so much better.
Just from pricing, man, isn't that crazy? Just like pricing strategy, and you're attracting people that take action. Like you just had someone do their first flip for like 100, they made like 170 grand or something in profit.
Yeah. Initially, just they got a house that was at asking price. They got 3 offers. The first one offered asking price, which would have been $144,000 profit. They actually went way above that, ended up making. They took a higher offer, making almost. They bought the house for 180 and made $174,000 profit on it. I mean, it's
Wow.
huge, especially for a first time flip. I mean, it's not unheard of. It's not one of those like these are uncommon. It's not super common, but it's definitely not
Yeah,
that uncommon. So to have that was a huge, huge for everybody
yeah,
in the community to get to see that too.
right. Boost the morale. It's got to be great. Anytime as a coach you see people getting results, I mean that's why we do this, right?
Mhm.
Is to bring transformation and change people's lives. So that's amazing. That really came from doing your launches. Okay, so that's your marketing strategy is launches. We're working on some other low ticket stuff right now.
Mhm.
That's a little more automated. But I think that's an important note as well. It's like there's not just one strategy that works for everybody. Like every marketer out there is always trying to push the latest thing. I think the biggest lesson is you got to do what works for you.
Yeah.
Right? You got to do what works for you, tweak it, optimize it, and then you can have test out other strategies. Um, and then so we changed the pricing. What else did we change on delivery? As a coach, some people do one-on-one, some people do group. I think the biggest change for you was going to just like one weekly call, right? Or do you have 2, or is that
I have one a week.
Okay.
One per week, and I have different times. So I have like I just had my call for the Tuesday afternoon today, and then next week it'll be Thursday evening. So that splits it up a little bit because everybody has different time zones and different work schedules. But yeah, that kind of frees up my schedule too. So I, don't always have my Tuesday afternoon, taken up, and I don't always have my Thursday evenings taken up because I do, my family is why I'm doing this. So I try to make sure I prioritize as much as possible. And I still have a stay-at-home mom with a child with special needs in the summer. So being
Yeah.
able to have that flexibility is just makes it a lot more doable for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. Instead of having to be like spread thin with multiple calls, simplified it,
Mm-hmm.
one call a week. And yeah, because I some coaching programs they do like 5 calls a week. I think it's just too much. Like what I've found is just do one. Just do one.
Yeah.
Just do one, man. You can support people in the community as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
So I
what
have
else?
the chat in school. They can message me at any time.
Yeah,
So it's not like I'm inaccessible.
yeah,
But I don't have to answer right away. I can always like I'm in the middle of lunch. I can answer later, or I'll answer you tomorrow. It's not where it's so urgent the way it's set up where I always have to be completely present there. I get to do my life and work around that.
yeah, for sure. So what have been some of the other changes? I think those are the 2 main ones, but is there anything on your end that has made a big difference? Some of the big levers that you've pulled over these last 6 months to a year?
Growing and understanding the programs that are available to me. There's definitely some growing pains with that, but also like hiring out. Like I've done so much of this on my own that I kind of got to the point where like if I really wanted to be able to focus on making my program better, I had to stop trying to do all the things. I had to stop focusing on being the one who posts content, being the one who figures out how to create this program that does this thing and this whatever. Like, so Fiverr has become a really good friend of mine. Like
Nice.
hiring people to help me set these things up. so that I know it works and I can just focus on doing what only I can do. Then I'm not stressed about all the technical stuff. Being and doing that, like I've added text messaging to my program, which I think was huge, because when you have like 1,500 people sign up and it's typical to only have like a small fraction of them show up, a lot of times it's because they forget they signed up for something like 7 days ago. So being able to text them those reminders, I think really definitely helped this go around as well, to increase the amount of people that showed up. And obviously then at that point, the people that signed up. So
Yeah, that's huge. Those are like the little things that people skip. Like you can make these 1% increases with simple text reminders to get people to show up to your, whether it's a call or a live challenge, whatever it is. So
yeah, I give myself like a day or two to see if I can figure it out. But after that, if I haven't figured it out and mastered it, then it's obviously something that I don't need to be focusing on. So I find somebody else that can do it for cheap.
Right. Yeah. You can always find solid people that do what they do great. And if it gives you a headache, it's like, why even try to do that if you can hire it out? So
exactly.
So delegating, yeah, that's been huge for you. Being able to free up time, free up mental energy, all that good stuff. So I know ads is a big part of your thing. I know coaches kind of go back and forth with like content, organic content versus ads. I don't even know why it's a debate, but talk to me about that. Like you've been running ads for a long time.
I mean, I don't see how you can, I don't know how you could do this without it, honestly. Like not if you really want to grow fast. I have organic stuff, like I have posts every day. But that doesn't mean that the people that I want to see, that I need to see, that are going to see that stuff. So, I mean, I do that because I think it's important to have content out there so that you don't look like somebody who just showed up on Facebook and never did anything. Cause that's where I advertise, on Facebook. But yeah, I mean, the Facebook ad is definitely what I rely on for sure.
Yeah. Talking about because you've been running ads for a long time now, but a lot of beginners, they'll probably struggle with like fear of running ads, fear of losing the money on ads. It feels risky. I guess there's a lot of things that prevent people from running ads. What was that like for you? What would you say to that, I guess?
Gosh, like, I mean, when I started, I kind of started, I had to run ads. Nobody else is going to know who I am if I don't do it. So either I run the risk of maybe losing a little bit of money, or I just don't make money, period. So I decided to take the risk. But learning the process of like, you could put 10 ads out there. And as the case for me, like I'll put 10 ads out there and only 2 of them actually get any attention. And I've also learned, because I created a lot of my own ads. When you obsess over them, you're wasting your time and energy. Like I would have an ad I remember I worked on for like 2 days just to get it perfect, because I was like I just need this to look a certain way, and so like the certain lighting and all that kind of stuff, the certain colors. And this was like way back, when I used to care that much. And it would get no attention. And then I remember this one time I was working on creating my ads for the next launch, and I was so tired. It was probably like 2:00 in the morning, and I had to I just wanted to get one more, because I was like, I want to have 10. So, and I just put out picked a color for the background, wrote in some text, and that became like the highest running ad that worked. And I only worked on it for like maybe 10 minutes. So I learned right then and there, don't overthink it. Nobody cares nearly as much about these little details as you do. So yeah, but everything in this business is trial and error. And if you cannot embrace that some things you're going to try just are not going to work, then you're just going to be afraid all the time.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean the anxiety goes away, but it changed to like, okay, now I know what not to do next time.
Yeah.
Or like, now I know what not to obsess over next time. And just keep going.
It feels good to win. It's like, all right, I've had all these failed ads, but then, with ads, all you need is like one ad to crush.
Yeah. And when it works, chances are it's going to keep working,
Yeah.
So
yeah, you've been running this model for years, and you're just optimizing, continually getting better at the process. And I think that's huge. Be a scientist, right? Like you said, everything is testing. And in the beginning, especially for beginners, they focus on the wrong things.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why you need a coach. I mean, to help I mean, you've had to coach different coaches throughout your whole career of doing this, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like every single one from the very get-go, I've heard in one form or another, don't worry about that. Like,
All right.
stop focusing on that. That's not important.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
the point where I'm telling myself, this is not important right now. So I
Right.
actually get to like focus more on like what's actually going to drive, push the needle a little bit more. Just focus on that.
Mhm.
Everything else eventually just works it out, or you can hire somebody to work it out for you.
That's huge, man.
Yeah.
What would you say as far as parting wisdom, advice, encouragement to people that are, trying to grow their coaching business? They're trying things. Maybe it's not working. They're not where they want to be. What would you say with all of your years of wisdom?
Well, the two things. Like the first one would be you have to get used to being uncomfortable with things not being perfect. I was raised with the idea like if you're going to do anything, it should be done with excellence. But that to me is just in this context, that can very quickly turn into perfectionism, which is just another insecurity strategy. Nobody's going to care about the things that you care about like you care about them. When you do that, you basically delay actually starting because you're focusing on all these little things. So trying to train yourself to just put something out there, even if it looks crappy to you. Like my very first launch, I remember I had this whole PowerPoint presentation. I didn't even show it to anybody. I didn't know I needed to. So I'm sitting there, they're still looking at my face and I'm reading my notes and that's it. Like no graphics, nothing fancy. I mean, what I have isn't fancy, but I at least give people, something to look at and some bullet points. And I made sales on my very first one. So like, I mean, if that doesn't teach you that it doesn't have to be, super, perfect and well presented. I mean, my graphics I picked off of Canva. I didn't even create them myself. So I didn't hire somebody to do that. I just gave you something to look at. Just take quick action and don't overthink it. And I mean, anytime, like you're going to have things that just don't work and you just need to accept that that's a part of your growth process and not some sort of indication of failure or that you're on the wrong path. Like I know that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Why did it take me this long to get here? Because I had a lot of lessons to learn in the process. But the sooner you push yourself to accept those lessons and take them, then, the faster everything is going to go for you. And the quicker you're going to get to where you've actually got a business that's working for you instead of you constantly building on it and working on it. So, yeah.
I love that. Thanks so much for sharing. I think I would agree with everything you said. You should feel proud of yourself because that's what I've noticed is you've done a great job of just taking action. And, those are the best traits that you can have. It's just take action, man.
Let's do it.
Like,
I remember sometimes you've given me advice. I'm just like, I don't really understand it, but okay, I'll do it. I'll just do it. What's the worst going to happen? It doesn't work and do something else. I mean, if that's the worst, then yeah, it's worth taking the risk.
That's right. Awesome. Thanks, Kim. Boom.